Welcome to the Genesis of the Doctor podcast, where we're taking a journey through the time and space of the history of Doctor Who. I'm Joy,
And I'm Tris.
and for today's episode, we're finishing up season 11 and the Third Doctor era overall with Planet of the Spiders. Planet of the Spiders is definitely an interesting story.
I I really didn't expect the story to play out at all the way it did. I had a very
Yeah.
different expectation going into this story compared to what we actually got.
Yeah. It's definitely not the most politically correct story. That's for sure. There's uh Koji being a white actor with makeup, and then Tommy's character was maybe not handled the best.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Could have been worse, but it could have been better too.
I think I really expected a lot more out of the idea of the Planet of the Spiders and Metabolus 3. And I feel like the only
Yeah.
scene that really gave us that was when the big great spider gets killed
Yeah,
after the
pretty
doctor
much.
gives over the crystal. That is the only scene that actually played out the way I expected it to. Or the only scene that reflected visually what I was expecting out of the story.
Yeah. Instead, we just get like a spider council having a chat most of the time. That's
Yeah,
about it.
we have a spider council. We have a really long chase scene in the second
Yeah.
episode.
Apparently, the
We
story
have the
behind
something on your back.
the story behind the chase sequence is that John Pertwee loved vehicle chases, so Barry Letts was just like, "Hey, we'll give this to you as a gift."
That's really funny. It was comically long. It was
Yeah,
hilarious.
half of one episode.
It really was, to be honest. It was obscenely long, but in a funny way. And as soon as you think it's over, it just picks up into a part two.
Yeah, it's just funny to think that like, if you were watching this weekly, that would be all you got for the week is like 10 minutes of them talking and then a chase sequence.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I loved how the Whomobile flies. We get to
It
see it
was
flying.
very silly. Very silly how they made it happen in this, and the power of green screen and all.
Yeah, I did like how Joe gets a brief role in this by sending back the crystal. That's like the first
I
time we've had a past companion have a role in a future story.
I did love that. I did love that. Oh, there was this little letter addressed to the doctor or whoever is there that she knows with the crystal, and also kind of setting up the importance of the crystal. Because it's evil apparently.
Yeah. But then the crystal
I
kills
think
the dude that they
the,
had.
the story as a whole was fascinating. I'm sorry, what was that? You cut out until the very last word there.
The crystal kills the dude that they had investigating like stuff.
Yeah, the cri- and that gets completely ignored for the rest of the story.
Yeah.
The first half and second half feel very disconnected. Um,
Yeah.
and that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. I think while I like a lot of the ideas in this story, I think it feels too disconnected at its core from the first half to the second half. Basically, once the spiders really come into play, and once going to Metabolus 3 comes into play, it feels so disconnected. There is no concern over what happened in the beginning of, oops, this man with psychic powers is killed.
Yeah. The stuff on Earth and the stuff on Midwillis 3 kind definitely feel like very different stories.
Mm-hmm.
I did find it very funny at the very beginning, though, when they're at like the talent show, and then the Brigadier wants to leave, and then an exotic dancer shows up, and he's like, "Oh, I really like this one."
It's very
And
silly.
the doctor
Very
teases
silly
him
moment
about it.
between them. But I like how I like how the way the Brigadier plays it off is like, oh, it might be good for training. Maybe I'll get all the boys to do it, which is really funny. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, he's not even interested in the women. He's interested in the fact that it's training.
Yeah.
That's
And then
very
we find
silly.
out, like, the mind reader checks his watch, and we find out it's from a woman that he used to know, and he's very embarrassed by it. Apparently, that Doris is his second wife, not his first wife, who he's currently
Huh.
married to. So it's
Interesting. Okay.
someone he already knew and apparently like had a kid with, but then he'll get married to her later in his life, according to like all
I
the
see.
expanded universe stuff.
I didn't even know he currently had a wife. If you brought it up, I totally forgot about it.
I think in the Demons he was supposed to have a wife who like was like in bed with him, but I guess we don't really see her that much.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe that was actually
Like
Doris, for all we know.
I think Kate Stewart's supposed to already be alive at this point. Like she's a kid at this point, I think.
Hmm. I guess, yeah, I think that makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
The Brigadier just doesn't strike as a married man, as a man who
Yeah.
really cares much for more than playing soldier right now. So they haven't really gone into that. It doesn't really like feel like part of his character currently. Um, but I mean, it's not a bad thing to do. I do like how flustered he got with the watch, though. I do think that felt like a good moment for his character.
Yeah. And also when he calls up the medical office, he does mention an Officer Sullivan, and we will be
Yep.
meeting him in the next story.
Yep.
So
So
they
they're sowing the seeds for that one.
yeah, they decided to put the name there, like late into writing the story, because I mean they're introducing Harry Sullivan in the next story.
Mm-hmm. And that's gonna be fun. But I do love how this was the start of giant bugs on someone's back. Something we see in the modern Who a bit.
Yeah,
This was the start of that, and the spider props were kind of fun. They were unnerving. I was surprised how willing people were to get like really close to these props, because I definitely feel like they were like unnerving.
yeah,
The green screen ones are kind of whatever, but
yeah. They were pretty good props. I quite like them. Apparently
Mhm.
the great one was supposed to have like her own prop, which was deemed to be too scary. So they just used
Oh,
one of the small ones and just made it bigger.
made it big. I want to know what they did that made it too scary. It probably had more detailed like eyes and a face.
Yeah, I think it had like glowing red eyes or something as well, and it was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe we don't want to put that on there. People will find it scary.
Meanwhile, nowadays, I wonder how these compare to the Rachnos, or the
Yeah,
spiders from Jodie Whittaker's episode, the
yeah.
arachnids in the UK.
I also find it very funny how that whole chase sequence only starts because the doctor doesn't want the brigadier to shoot his car.
Yeah, that is technically why it starts. That
Yeah,
yeah, that is very silly. He also technically just kind of leaves it somewhere.
yeah.
He doesn't get it back, so I guess that's why it never shows up again. He left it in some countryside.
And then Bessie was just kind of left out there too, I guess. Although I guess the brigadier probably brought it back.
Yeah, the Brigadier could probably bring that back because he was left with Bessie at least. But
Yeah,
the way the lead up to the chase sequence and everything is just very funny. But it's kind of unfortunate that like as soon as they break apart, nobody from Unit B is like relevant to the rest of the story because they don't know what's going on. They never get brought back in
yeah.
until the very last scene.
We have Mike Yates there, but he's not unit anymore.
It's true, and I don't know if that's better or worse for him
Yeah,
because I don't feel like he actually does a lot this story, other than he's the person to discover what's going on.
yeah,
Which feels very happenstance. He seems like he's happier in life, which is good, but I don't feel like he actually did a lot this story, which I'm pretty sure this is his last story. So I was really hoping we were gonna get more out of him from this.
yeah. He definitely just didn't do a lot. His role in the story was just like telling Sarah Jane what was going on, and then Sarah Jane would tell the doctor, and that was it.
And then they kind of kept
And
him
then
around because they needed somebody there.
yeah,
But again, he didn't really do anything.
he had a few action scenes, and that's about it. Fighting with
They
all
were
the people there.
kind of weak action scenes too, to be honest,
Yeah,
compared to what we normally get.
it was just weird seeing him in regular person clothes, though. I guess we did that in the Demons, but otherwise he's normally in a uniform. It's just a little
Mm-hmm.
weird.
Yates is a fascinating character because I think early on his character had a lot of good little moments, and it, the differences between him and Benton kept him interesting. But I kind of feel like what they did with him after Green Death, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. I appreciate the idea of adding depth to his character, but there's no payoff to it.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been interesting if we like saw him in a very different context in this story, and that would
Mm-hmm.
have changed it. But then he's basically just doing the same thing again.
Like, I kind of thought he was gonna go with the Doctor to Metabolus 3 and get stuck there. That's what
Yeah,
I thought was gonna happen going into the story, as to why he doesn't come back any point after this.
I was expecting him to die when he got shot by the
Yeah,
lightning. I thought he was
yeah.
gonna die there.
And his final scene is like he gets up, he's like, "No, I feel great," and that's it. That's his final appearance,
Yeah.
which feels very weird.
Apparently,
Well, no, I
originally they
guess
were.
he does appear in like some of the later stuff though, doesn't he? Like the Five Doctors or something like that. I feel like I remember
Uh,
hearing he appears in
I'm not sure if he does. I don't think
some
so.
of the anniversary ones. Oh, okay, maybe not.
I know he was in a couple Big Finish stories, but those are probably all from before this time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, apparently he does show up in Five Doctors actually.
Oh, okay. So we're not quite done with him, but it's like a very little, very little bit.
He's in the Five Doctors and also Dimensions in Time.
Huh, okay.
Apparently, they were thinking of killing him off in Invasion of the Dinosaurs, and then they decided, well, we might want to use him later, so we're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
like
and
it.
multimedia stuff. I mean, it seems like he comes back quite a bit, but it is kind of a shame that like the where his character ended here in the show is pretty unsatisfying, and
Yeah,
despite long recurring appearances, he doesn't really get anything after this, and that's disappointing. I think.
yeah. I know it was mostly just that like the actor just kind of wanted to leave is why
Mm-hmm.
they wrote him this way. Like I think it was his idea to make him go evil in Invasion of the Dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
But I just kind of wish that like if we got another story of him after Unit, he was not just playing a Unit soldier essentially again. Like he was a
Yeah,
different person.
yeah. He really just didn't do anything else, which is unfortunate. But
Yeah. I definitely just think that like Tommy was very weirdly handled in this story. With like
Tommy
what
was very weird.
I did like his line though when like Sarah Jane's like, "Oh, you're normal, Tommy." He's like, "Well, I hope not." Like I like that line. I hope I'm not
Certainly
normal
hope
now.
not. I certainly hope not.
Yeah, yeah, it's
It was
definitely a
that
little.
was a good moment. I like the idea of the crystal affecting him, but it's another case of it didn't amount to anything.
Yeah,
Like, I guess it was to show how powerful the crystal is and what it can do to the mind, to kind of set up the idea of it like expanding the mind and working more with it. But it didn't really do anything for him other than it changed how he spoke and gave him better understanding of things. Like, he didn't go on to do something he wouldn't have otherwise done.
yeah,
Like, if he saw the people he considered his friends in danger, he still would have protected them.
yeah,
So I don't. It didn't really change anything, other than it made him more coherent, and I don't know how I feel about that.
yeah. It's definitely an odd choice to have, a mentally handicapped person, and then it's like, oh, he's been cured now. It's like that's
Yeah, it's
a
like,
weird
well,
plot point.
that's not quite how that works, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I think one other thing with Tommy specifically that kind of bugged me is how they keep playing him up to have a much larger involvement in everything going on. But the only actual like looking back, the only actual involvement he had in the entire story was he took the crystal.
Yeah.
That was actually it.
Yeah,
He
that was
took
his
the
whole role.
crystal while sitting in the window. Nothing else he actually did ever really impacted anything.
Yeah. Other than just like standing in the way of the lightning shots. And that's about it.
Which weren't affecting him because he was protected by his innocence for
Yeah.
some reason. I don't understand how that makes sense, but
And then
and Yates
Yates
has a
was
pure
protected.
heart or something like that, and that's why
Yeah.
he was protected.
Very weird choices at times.
Yeah, very. Um, so it then kind of makes you think. So what did this story do well? If these supporting characters, one of which was a long recurring character, finally coming back, weren't handled very well, what does it do well? Um, I think Sarah and the Doctor were all right. I don't think it was the best performance from either of them, but I did like their performances. I did
Yeah.
not like Lupton, the villain.
Yeah.
When they had a whole scene dedicated to his motivations, and like I don't think I've seen weaker motivations for a villain. To be
Yeah.
honest.
He was fired from a job and then he tried to start up his own company and it didn't work out. So he wants to take over the world. And to do
And
that, he
he's
goes
at a
to,
monastery? Like
yeah, he goes
it,
to a meditation retreat, and that's how plan to take over the universe.
and and he went there to get power.
Yeah.
And all the seances they're doing and everything, like the spiders were not their intent. They did not know about the spiders. They didn't know about Metebelis 3. They did not know what they were doing were going to get them something that could uh potentially help to control the universe. So what were they doing then?
Yeah.
Like, how was that going to have gotten him power? How is he at a point after losing his job and his startup failed that he thinks, oh, well, let me go to this monastery, let me go pray, let me go do seances, all these things, and they will give me the power I need. Like, I don't. There's no rational jump there without having encountered something to make him think
Yeah.
that would work, which he doesn't do. So it's very weird.
I guess early on there was like they also used the summoning thing to make a tractor appear in front of Yates and Sarah Jane, so like they were doing other things with the
And
power,
and
I
they
guess.
only did it the one time.
Yeah.
Like
I also just found it so
clearly there
weird,
was
like
some sort of power there, but okay.
I found it so weird how quickly Lupton turned on the spiders and then like he just doesn't get his comeuppance until the very end of the story. Like, the spider that was working with him probably would have turned on him the second it got the opportunity to, considering he was like torturing it while they were on Earth.
Yeah.
But no.
And and it's even weirder to me that like the way it killed him, it could have just done that the whole time.
Yeah.
There was no reason why it didn't. Like as soon as it had the crystal, it could have done that instead of relying on him. Like
Yeah.
it's not only very weird why they kept him alive as long as they did. It's also very weird how he was so certain he was in control and had some level of control at any point.
Yeah.
I think his character would have worked a lot better if he got controlled by the spiders and learned he was in over his head and needed to be saved, quote unquote, but had to sacrifice himself. I feel
Yeah.
like I would have appreciated his character better if that was the route he took. A writing path, a character path we're pretty familiar with in Doctor Who nowadays. But I didn't care for him, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chase sequence with him was cool, but like that was kind of it.
I like kind of like the Queen Spider a bit more than him, especially when like the Queen Spider takes over Sarah Jane. There's like,
I really liked that. I was surprised that we killed the queen spider though.
yeah.
And then and then the one that was on Lupton became the new queen. It's like, oh, all right. I guess there was no significance to killing the queen. All right, sure.
Yeah. Also, apparently, the Queen Spider was voiced by Kismet Delgado, who was Roger Delgado's widow.
Oh,
Just
wow.
nice to give her a role.
Yeah.
Most of the actors in this were John Pertwee's friends or guest stars from previous stories that he'd enjoyed working with, and that was like a
As a
gift to
way.
him.
Yeah, that's... You know what? That's nice. That's nice. That's a
Uh,
lot
uh,
better
uh,
than some others got.
yeah, a bit sadly though, since he was like at the end of his time, he was taking it hard, so he wasn't really hanging out with the cast very much in this story.
Aw.
So like his friends were all there, but he was off answering fan mail instead of hanging out because he was taking it hard that he was leaving.
So he wasn't... Even though he had planned to leave, he wasn't happy that he was leaving?
Yeah, because I mean, he really only left because like all his friends were gone now, and
Yeah.
that's what it was.
That's
'Cause
unfortunate.
Yeah, he took Roger Delgado's death very hard, and then uh, he missed Katie Manning.
Yeah.
So it's like he didn't leave because he really wanted to. He left because it was just not fun for
It
him
wasn't the
anymore.
same. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is such a shame because you could tell he loved it so much.
I know Elizabeth Sladen told the story about like after they filmed their first story, like they went to a bar and John Pertwee accidentally called her Katie, and then
Aw.
he sat and cried when he realized what he'd done.
Aw.
So
He must
yeah,
have felt awful about that.
yeah.
Oh, man.
I did kind of like how this story is like thematically tied to the concept of regeneration a lot more than the previous two runs were, though.
That's true.
Like,
I think they have a much better idea of what they're trying to do with regeneration now.
Yeah, and then also like the Doctor's old guru from the Time Monster story is in the story, which is
Yeah.
just fascinating. And that's the first character we see to regenerate that's not the Doctor, is his guru, who regenerates into Choji, even though Choji was already there, and then they don't really explain how that works.
I guess when the Time Lord creates a projection of themselves, it can be from a future face.
Yeah. I guess people have kind of taken it that it's similar to like the Watcher that the Fourth Doctor had. It's like a very similar concept there, where it's their
Which we'll
next
get to.
regeneration showing up early. Yeah.
Yeah. It's curious, to say the least. It definitely adds like an air of mystery to the Time Lords. It's also nice having
Yeah.
another Time Lord that isn't bad or isn't out to get the Doctor, but someone that the Doctor respects.
And I just liked the Doctor's little scene with Kanpo there, of slowly realizing who he is.
Yeah. Does Campbell ever come back in anything? Because he's like one of the only other good Time Lords.
I'm not sure.
Probably extended media, but
Apparently they have other identities. So they might show up in... Oh, they show up in books, but only...
okay.
Yeah, doesn't seem like they're in any other
they're,
TV show.
they are called the Hermit, apparently.
Yeah.
Job Hermit. Thank you, TARDIS Wiki.
Yeah.
Very cool. But it's, when we go so long, we're like the only Time Lords we know are like the Master, the Rani, Rassilon, and like other modern ones like the General and things like that. We don't really have like many other Time Lords, and most of them are bad or in contention with the Doctor. It's
Yeah.
nice to see someone who the Doctor respects.
Yeah. And then Kanpo makes the Doctor realize that like it was his greed of taking the crystal that caused everything, so he has to take it back and face his fears. The ending definitely just felt like very rushed, though. It's just like
It did.
he has to bring the crystal back, but then bring the crystal back actually kills all the spiders, so it's like very weird.
It does not make sense as to why it kills them. It's kind of that like frustrating thing of, so basically if they got what they wanted all along, they would have lost anyway.
Yeah.
But for some reason doing this kills the Doctor in the process too.
Yeah, I think they mentioned that like the radiation in the caves was bad for him or something. So it's,
Yeah, they did. Like, it's like breaking down the cells in his body, but it's a case of, then why not just let the ones that were trying to get it take the crystal and bring it back to bring it to the Great One? Because that's what they wanted to do. That would have just killed them all. why did the Doctor have to be the one to go and do it, and then die in the process anyway? So it is messy. I
Yeah.
think. I think as a whole, for Planet of the Spiders specifically, I enjoyed what they tried to do. I definitely think there were a lot of good little moments. But I think as a whole, it's probably one of the weaker stories in this whole era to me, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We didn't even touch upon the humans on Metabilis 3. I did not like almost any of them.
Yeah. It definitely just felt like they just like wanted to explain like how the Spidey's new humans, I guess, and
Yeah.
show them, show that they have slaves, why they don't
Yeah.
respect humans at all.
I don't know. I feel bad about it, It's like, I wanted, like, the send-off story to Pertwee a lot more, and I'm only, like, finding, like, the flaws in it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, like, maybe I didn't like the story. Like, I thought it was fine. I enjoyed watching it, but I don't know. I think maybe it's because he had so many good, stronger stories that I had higher expectations of this one.
Yeah. Mine, it's definitely not one of my favorites. I wouldn't say I like
Mm-hmm.
disliked it, but I didn't really like it all that much either.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm not alone there.
Yeah. And the original plan for the season 11 finale would have been that it was originally going to be a story called The Final Game, which would have been the final Roger Delgado master story. And then obviously
Yeah.
that didn't happen. So that story would have had like the master sacrifice his life to save the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And I know like they were saying maybe it would have revealed they were brothers or something. But
Yeah, I
obviously
remember
it
hearing
was
about that, but
scrapped very early on into writing it, so like any of the plot points wouldn't have been like finalized at the point. And people also say that like the Doctor would have regenerated in that, but that's not actually true because John Pertwee didn't say he wanted to leave until long after that point. So like maybe he would have regenerated in that, but the scripts they were writing would not have included that because he hadn't announced his plans to leave yet at that point.
yeah, that makes sense. So wouldn't have known really.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently even the writer was saying that like they didn't really like this story of theirs.
I
they,
see.
they felt
I see.
they were running out of ideas and they didn't really like it that much. But yeah, I guess that was Planet of the Spiders. So we can move on to overall thoughts on season 11.
I think it's a bit shaky. I don't think it's Pertwee's
Yeah.
worst season, but I think it definitely has highs and lows.
Yeah.
I think Invasion of the Dinosaurs and Monster of Peladon might be the two that I really liked out of this.
Yeah.
Death of the Daleks was alright. Time Warrior, I liked the Suntaran, but that was kind of the highlight of the story. I didn't even like Sarah Jane in that story. I didn't think she was handled very well until, the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Invasion of Dinosaurs is definitely my favorite of the season.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And
mostly just a season I would say is like okay. It's
yeah.
not great. It's not bad either.
Yeah. I have a good understanding of Sarah Jane now. Now that this is her whole first season, but I
Yeah.
do think she will be stronger later.
Yeah. She's definitely a lot more well known to be with the Fourth Doctor, which I guess
Yeah,
is also
exactly.
because she's with him for like 3 seasons, I think.
Something like that. She's with them for a long time, which makes sense.
I think
But
it's middle of season 14 she leaves. So,
it's middle of the season departure. Unfortunate.
yeah. Because in season 14, like, she's in like the first 2 stories, and then in the middle, there's a story of him on his own, and then Leela comes in the next one
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah, yeah. But I
But
think
yeah.
the dynamic between the Doctor and his companion was not as strong this season, and I think it showed. And I think that hurt Sarah Jane as a character more because they kind of just jumped to her trusting him, despite as we complain about a lot nowadays. It feels like despite initially there being like distrust and her doubting him, they just immediately jump to, well, now she trusts him completely and has no problem with him. And they don't really
Yeah.
build their dynamic at all. They kind of just immediately set to work with a dynamic that worked for previous companions, so it should work here as well. Which is unfortunate because Pertwee's daughter spent so long like building up that relationship with Joe. It's a shame they didn't spend this season starting to build that with Sarah, only for then the regeneration, and then you can send in the doubt if she just started properly trusting him, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Joe definitely had like a lot more gradual of a building of a relationship with the third doctor, so it kind of sucks that
Yeah,
they didn't really do that again.
yeah,
I guess they just didn't want to be too concerned about like an overarching plot with her when, I mean, even the producers and the script editors left at this time as well. So I
that's
guess they just
true.
want to leave in a good spot for whoever came next to, like, they already trust each other, so you can just do whatever you want with them.
Yeah, and I mean, like it is still, even though it's only 5 stories, it is still like a 25 something episode season. So like,
Yeah.
you don't want to have distrust going for too long, otherwise it gets old. But I don't know. I think they've focused a little too hard on trying to make her Joe's replacement and less so her own character.
Yeah.
There's a couple moments where she does shine as her own character, like in Monster of Peladon and Invasion of the Dinosaurs, but and even the start of Planet of Spiders, to be honest, like even the start when she's there as a journalist at first and friend to Mike Yates.
Yeah.
But the way most of Unit talks to her, the way even Yates interacts with her, it feels like for some reason, like she and Yates know each other better, even though they don't. But it's like they're building off of everything with Joe. So it just feels weird and awkward. But I think it'll be better going forward once she's adapts with the fourth Doctor, because we'll see them grow together.
Yeah. It is a little funny just to think that like she only knew Mike Yates from the fact that he like betrayed Unit. Like that's all she knew
Yeah.
him from. And then
So it's
he's
weird
calling her
that
and saying, and she trusts him and stuff, and it's a little weird.
that's why I'm saying that feels like it's something that should have been for Joe,
Yeah.
because yes, Sarah has no reason to trust him. It's weird, frankly.
Yeah. I will note that they intentionally had the third Doctor regenerate in front of the Brigadier because they wanted to avoid having to do a repeat of what happened with the third Doctor at the beginning, where Brigadier didn't trust him.
Yeah, yeah. I like how they handled it in this case, though. I like how he's like, "What again?" Oh
Yeah.
no, like he's like upset it's about to happen again.
Apparently, "Here We Go Again" was an ad lib by Nicholas Courtney, and it's a very
Nice.
good line there.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Oh, and I guess we should also just say that like this is actually when they first said regeneration. The first time they used the word.
That's true. Every other instance was they only really mentioned like changing. They never
Yeah.
really said.
It was a
Yeah. They
renewal
said
for
your
the first
appearance has
Doctor.
changed.
Renewal for the first Doctor, and then changing your appearance for the second. And then they
Yeah.
said regenerated here.
Yeah. Now
And then
they're
this is
really
also
setting things up properly. Gallifrey, Time Lords, regeneration.
Yeah, this is also when it's definitively like when they would die that it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Although he needs a little push from Kenpo slash Choji, whatever name
Yeah.
he would be using at the time.
I love how the Brigadier is like, Miss Smith, will you introduce me to your friend here? And she just like the most confused like mumbo jumbo to the Brigadier. It's like, that
Yeah.
makes it perfectly clear.
Yeah. It's very good. Yeah, I guess overall thoughts on the third Doctor, I would say he's not my favorite. Like, I definitely think the second Doctor, I like the second Doctor a lot more. But I didn't dislike the third Doctor. Like, he's definitely up there as well.
I think that's interesting because I think for me, I think I did like the third Doctor more than the second. Not like significantly more, but I think it's so much of the second Doctor's unfortunately is like lost episodes and the reconstructions or the animated, and I think having his performance for all of them would help a lot more. But I think
Yeah.
I really like who the third Doctor is, not just because we have all of his episodes, but I think I really like the way he handles himself. I like the snark that he has. I like that ultimately he's a scientist that's frustrated with his position and wants to
Yeah.
change that. And I think it leads to a lot of very fascinating interactions with different characters, different situations that he gets himself into that really sets him apart from the second Doctor while making him feel like a fun mix of one and two. He has the
Yeah.
whimsy of two at times, but he also has the rudeness of one.
Yeah. He's definitely like a bit more like the upper class idea like the first Doctor kind of had at times.
Mm-hmm.
Carries himself a bit higher than the second Doctor
Yeah.
did. I really liked how like the third Doctor's era in particular is like it's just one long story essentially. It's not really just
Yeah.
like a bunch of disconnected ideas.
Yeah.
Because classic who largely is just a bunch of disconnected ideas for the most part. But third Doctor, you
Mm-hmm.
have his exile and then slowly getting released from the exile, and there's a whole story there.
And it's done in such a way that even if you aren't like watching in order and like keeping a close eye on all that, it still kind of makes sense. It's presented in a way where you don't feel like you need all the context for every little bit.
Yeah,
Because otherwise he really is just he's a scientist trying to make this machine work, is how it comes across with the TARDIS. And that's fascinating, I think. Um there's a lot of the identity of the third Doctor I see in the 12th Doctor now that I've been through all of it.
yeah,
And 12 is my favorite.
yeah,
And you could really see a lot of the mannerisms, a lot of the identity of the third Doctor was put into Capaldi's performance for 12, but you modernize it in the idea of who the Doctor is at that point. And it's
yeah.
fascinating.
I definitely like the quirky Doctors a bit more myself, so that's why
I
I'd say
definitely
I like the second
yeah.
more.
And I definitely understand that because the quirky Doctors are also tons of fun.
Yeah,
Um I just there's something about the more serious Doctors that I really like where I think they strike a good balance with the role they play in everything, like in the fate of
yeah,
the universe and understanding that fate. I love moments where you can tell Pertwee's just loving the job
yeah. Those are definitely great.
because those shine really well. Because I think while we know from behind the scenes stuff how much one and two loved it, I feel like Pertwee really shows it on screen how much he's loving it. Two definitely showed it
Yeah,
on screen a lot as well. But there's a lot of little things that Pertwee does that I feel like he would only have done because he loved it.
yeah, and I think it probably helped John Pertwee that he's just working with like the same people for 3 years in a row.
That's true.
Three of his
That's
seasons
true.
are just the exact same cast the whole time.
Mm-hmm. It really helps
Second
you
Doctor had
build up a lot with them. Yeah.
Second Doctor had Jamie with him the whole time, but then like the other companions were going in and out.
That's
So it was just the
why.
two of them.
That's definitely why his performance with Jamie was so good. The second Doctor, like that's
Yeah,
why they had so much together and worked really well together because they had that length of time. Yeah.
yeah. I'd say towards the end of the Third Doctor era, you definitely started to miss not having Unit with them all that much because they're very much not there that much towards the end.
Yeah. So much of the third Doctor's identity is mixed with Unit and his role with Unit, so it is actually a bit sad that they start appearing less and less.
Yeah, they started being like in 2 stories a season instead of the whole season that they were at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Which is a shame because early on we have, or not quite early on, but like right before that we have the Brigadier and Benton become involved in an interplanetary issue and actually travel in the TARDIS, and you hope that leads to the idea of maybe even if we're staying on Earth the whole time behind, maybe they'll still stick around, but not quite.
Yeah, yeah. I quite enjoyed the Third Doctor era. It's definitely like a very good time, and I loved how like the producers were very much like wanting to establish a bit more about Doctor Who, like his they established it's called Gallifrey. They
Mm-hmm.
have the Master show up as another Time Lord.
Yeah.
They like establish a lot about what regeneration is as a concept towards the end as well. Like they do a lot to establish the lore of the universe and everything.
They really do. Like, it really feels like they're getting a good idea of the direction they want to be taking it in.
Yeah. And then with the Third Doctor leaving, Barry lets, I think he produces like the first story of the Fourth Doctor, and then he hands it over to Philip Hinchcliffe, is a new producer. And then I think already Terrence Dix is leaving as script editor, like with this story, and then the next story is Robert Holmes is the script editor, he's the one that wrote like some of the stories we've already seen. Like he wrote the Time Warrior, he wrote like the Crotons from long ago that wasn't the best. he writes a lot of stories.
Okay. I'm excited to see how that goes then.
Yeah. And then I know they stick around for, I think, like the first 3 seasons of the Fourth Doctor, and then it's more people show up.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, the next season's also very interesting because it like all directly leads into each other.
Yeah. I think
like even more than these past few have.
I think like the last 3 stories are all directly tied into each other, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Because they lose the TARDIS halfway through the season.
Yeah, so you kind of have to make a clear connection of how they get back to it, basically.
Yeah.
A clear line.
And then we do get Harry Sullivan, and he's only there for just over a season. It's a bit surprising that he's like so well known as a character in Doctor Who, but he's only in a season.
Only 1 season, yeah.
And I know that like
says a lot about the impact he's gonna have, I think.
I know the actor has like a very strong friendship with, or had a very strong friendship with Tom Baker. Because like they were writing a movie together, even like after they left.
Oh, that's fun.
They were writing like a Doctor Who movie, I think, where he would have come back to the role, but then it never got made. And
Unfortunate.
then the actor for Harry Sullivan died at a pretty young age as well, so he's not with us anymore.
Yeah, that's sad.
Apparently, Harry Sullivan was written because they were thinking that they would cast an older actor for the Fourth Doctor, so they needed like somebody to do the action scenes, and then they realized, well, then they cast Tom Baker, so then they kind of didn't need him anymore. Tom Baker's young enough to do them.
They were ready to have another Ian.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll miss the Third Doctor, but I'm also looking forward to the Fourth Doctor, because obviously he's very...
Yeah, 100%.
Everybody loves the Fourth Doctor.
I think what's fascinating to me is thinking back on a lot of this and like really looking through it. Like, I see a lot of the Third Doctor and the 12th Doctor, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
I see a lot of the Second Doctor in the 11th Doctor. And in terms of like the quirkiness, the childishness, but like in a fun way.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of 4 in 10.
Yeah.
So I am excited to see the entirety of Tom Baker's era and really see how much it brought to the identity of Doctor Who that, you know, basically Tom Baker is the classic equivalent of David Tennant's 10th Doctor.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see how that all plays out.
The only difference is that Tom Baker absolutely refused to ever return to the role. Until Day of the Doctor.
Well, technically, it's hard to say if it's the exact same role, but yes.
Yeah. And I would say the
same kind of thing as 12 in that case, so Capaldi, where it's like, no, I'm done. I don't need to come back. But,
yeah. Like, I know that in the 5 Doctors, the 4th Doctor's not actually there. They have, like, archive footage that they use instead.
Yeah, don't they use that in, like, a wax dummy of him at some point,
yeah.
too? Like,
I know at least, they had promo pictures of the 5 Doctors together, but it wasn't actually Tom Baker. It was him from, like, the wax museum.
That's very funny, honestly. That's very silly.
He did come back for Dimensions of Time, though, I suppose. But that depends how much that counts.
He also did a lot of audio stuff.
Yeah. I will say that the 3rd Doctor definitely also has a lot in common with the 9th Doctor as well. Like, like there's definitely a lot of similar DNA there. Well.
I definitely see a lot of that too.
And John Pertwee kind of never really left the role of the Doctor in his life. Like, he's always hanging around Doctor Who for the rest of his life in various capacities. I think part of that...
he was always loving it.
Part of it was, like, he really loved it, but also part of it was when he went to try to get roles at other jobs, they would say, like, we can't cast you in this because you're Doctor Who. So he was, like, very very typecast, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Although he did
definitely
have like
changed
a
things for him.
he had like a 5-year children's show in the late 70s that he was well known for as well. I forget what it
Okay,
was called, but he plays like a scarecrow or something. And then he's well known for that role as well.
that's fun.
But he also did like a there was a stage play that he did of Doctor Who in like the late 80s. But then he got sick halfway
Oh
through
wow,
and then they replaced him with Tom or Colin Baker. So it was started as a third Doctor story and then it became a sixth Doctor story halfway through production.
wow.
But yeah. And then obviously John
Did
he will come
there's
back
also
for the Five
yeah,
Doctors in Dimensions of Time, and then he passes away in 1996, I think.
oh, gotcha. Okay, I wasn't sure when that he did. I knew it was before 2000, but I wasn't sure when
It was
he
like
did.
the week that they released the Eighth Doctor movie. He passed away,
Oh wow,
and then when it
unfortunate.
aired in Great Britain, they put a in memoriam at the end for him.
Uh, that's nice at least, but yeah. I don't know, but you're definitely right though that like it definitely seems like Doctor Who was like always a big thing for him
Yeah,
afterwards. Like he never truly left. Um,
and then he
did you see the commentary to Boom? I believe it was the 15th Doctor story, Boom, and they mention a whole story about John Pertwee in there.
I might have seen that. I can't remember exactly.
So in that, so from like last year, they in the commentary of Stephen Moffat and Rusty Davies, and I cannot remember the other guy's name, but I believe he was the director for Boom. Um, they talk about something called Pertwee's Burgers,
Oh yeah, I remember this.
and and yeah, like the whole thing of apparently sometime after Doctor Who, John Pertwee and like his friends opened up like a burger place that was there for like a few years.
Yeah,
And that's so funny to me.
yeah. John Pertwee just seems like a very fun person. Then he did also come back for like in the 90s there was like the Wilderness series like home videos things for Doctor Who that were made, and he played characters in those a bit. He
Okay.
was never the Doctor in those because they never got the rights to the Doctor, but he was in them.
Mm,
A few of the other
I
Doctor
see.
actors
I
are in
see.
those as well. And then there was a I think there was like recently there was a fan film that released that was supposed to be like the second and a half Doctor that was explaining like the jump between them, and then John Pertwee actually filmed a scene for that in the 90s,
Oh
and then
wow.
yeah, so like he was like a very big into Doctor Who for his whole life, and
Yeah, clearly.
was happy to work with fans and stuff if they asked him.
He was part of its legacy and clearly very heavily involved even after.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
and then I was watching videos about him like the other day, and whenever he went to conventions, him and Patrick Troughton always had like a friendly rivalry going on. Like he told a
Oh,
story
that's
about
funny.
at one convention, like they were being handed like water pistols from fans and stuff, and then they would start shooting each other with the water pistols, and then th- they were like handed bigger and bigger water pistols to keep shooting at each other.
That's so funny.
Yeah. When they filmed the Three Doctors, they didn't get along that well, but then they became friends over time. And then
That's good.
apparently they were disappointed when they filmed the Five Doctors, and then they weren't allowed to work together much for that because they were in different spots the whole time.
Aw,
Because the
that's a shame.
production team was like, oh, well, they didn't get along very well with the Three Doctors, so we shouldn't pair them up too much. But then, like, no, they were like very good friends by then.
That's a shame.
Yeah. And this was also the final story of Mike Yates. I guess we've already largely talked about him, but yeah.
Yeah, we did largely touch upon his whole arc, and I don't know. I wanted better for him, but I mean, at least Sergeant Benton is still kind of around and still doing well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's a shame they tried doing more with Yates, and I just don't think it really paid off very well.
Yeah. Like I said when we watched Invasion of the Dinosaurs, I thought it was a very fascinating way to take the character. But then
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Planet of Spiders just kind of undercuts that a little bit. Because it's like,
Yeah,
you know,
it does.
he's kind of corrupted over Invasion of Dinosaurs, and then we see him again in Planet of Spiders, and he's basically just doing the same thing that he used to do. It's just not officially.
Except now he has peace of mind.
Yeah. Like, I feel it would have been a bit interesting if, like, Planet of Spiders was a bit him, like, trying to redeem himself, but it didn't really feel that way to me.
I was really hoping for that, like I said. Like, that's why I was hoping he would go to Metabelus 3 with the Doctor.
Yeah.
Possibly even die in the story. Like, I really would have wanted it to be a proper redemption story for him, and it really wasn't.
Yeah. And I know Richard Franklin, who's the actor, did play him again a little bit in Big Finish, but then he passed away a few years ago. I'm not sure exactly when, but like his health was not great in his later years, so he only did a little bit of Big Finish. But yeah.
I see.
We have had some news recently, though, so we should probably talk about that a little bit.
Oh my god, finally. The Season 10, the Series 10 soundtrack, it exists. It's real.
I find it very funny how they announced it's coming, but they didn't say when. So it's like it's still like it's coming eventually. Don't worry, but like we know they're planning on doing it.
What could have happened to make it take this long?
I don't know. Like you would think maybe it's just because you know, the composer left Doctor Who after that, but then he's been back for a few years.
And he was asked about it like immediately after coming back, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't know what happened to that. I gotta look into that."
Yeah.
And now, like 2 years later, we're finally getting it. And it's like, oh, about time.
Yeah. I can't say I've ever bought any of the soundtracks, but I'm glad it's coming now.
Series 10 is my favorite series, so I think just out of principle,
Yeah.
I'll have to buy that. But also, I love the Shepherd's Boy, the theme for Troll's Regeneration, and also for Heaven Sent. But I need the one used for his Regeneration. It's such a beautiful song.
I think it's funny that we've had like Doctor Who fans, like there've been like gimmick accounts that are like, you know, this thing happened before the Series 10 soundtrack released, and they're finally gonna have to move on now. So many years later.
Well, once it releases, who knows when that'll actually be? We just know it's happening. It could still come out like in a year.
And then there was other big news recently that we might be getting some missing episodes possibly showing up in the near future. Because to sum up a very complicated story, there's a charity. Is it a charity called Film is Fabulous, who essentially what they do is they when like film collectors start to want to move on from their collections, or they pass on and then their family members need somebody to come take their film collection, Film is Fabulous will like buy those full collections, and then they will catalog them, and they'll look through them, and they'll, if there's anything that's like a missing episode of something, they will make sure that the rights holder gets a copy of it. And then they have said that they know of multiple missing episodes that are in multiple different collections. And yeah, they're hoping to secure some of those.
I hope it works out. Honestly, it'd be pretty cool to see. I want to know which ones. I want to know like which ones
they haven't shared that detail yet, but they did say that right now they're working with, like they had a deal with someone before someone passed away like within the last 2 weeks who had a collection, who they knew had at least one episode in it. And so now they're like, there's a complicated legal stuff going on because the person passed away, and then in their will, the two people that were left all their stuff are also not with us anymore. So they have to like before the person passed away, they already had a deal with them, I think, that like they would have been able to have access to their collection. So they should be able to get it, but they have to go through like a whole legal process to get it now. So it's
So now it's going to take longer, but it seems like
they
should
said that
still be able to.
They've been told they probably have a good legal case because there was already an agreement before the person passed away. So they should be able to get it. But we'll have to wait and see. Film with Fabulous was on like the Doctor Who Missing Episodes podcast, so I'll leave a link to that in the description of the YouTube upload of this if you want to watch that, because they just talk about like what they do and everything that's involved there. I'll also leave a link to their website because
Yeah, it's
it's a
fascinating
charity
stuff.
drive. So if you want to help them be able to afford this, you can donate to them because it's
That's true. They could probably use that.
it's a lot of money to try to buy people's collections and then also having to like transfer it because these are like film canisters that are over 50 years old, so they're kind of difficult to move. But yeah, hopefully we'll be getting missing episodes soon. It's been a long time since we got missing episodes. I think it was like 2013 last time that they found them.
Yeah, and we're fine. We're eventually gonna reach a point where we just can't anymore.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating that there is still some that we can.
Yeah. If I had to pick a story to come back, I would pick the massacre just because I want to see William Hartnell as the abbot.
Ooh.
Because that'd be like we don't even have a picture of him in that role.
That would add so much. You're right.
I would love to see like how he acted in that role because it's just interesting to know that like he played a different character, but we haven't seen that character at all.
Yeah.
And then
I don't know what story I would want. Maybe
Yeah.
just more second author stories.
yeah, I know a lot of people want like the Alex Master Plane because they really liked that story, and we have nothing of it. And
True.
Marco Polo from season 1 as well.
Oh yeah.
But we probably wouldn't get the whole thing for those ones because they're like 10 episodes long, 12 episodes long.
Yeah, they're kind of long. Yeah.
You might get one or
They're
two.
long enough. We probably wouldn't.
But yeah, I hope we do get more news about that. They have said that like Doctor Who fans should be patient because it's a very complicated process.
It's gonna take time. Yeah. Both pieces of news are not things that are going to be happening immediately. That's for sure.
Oh, and also the new Ninth Doctor audio released after our last recording, and it's a very good one. It's a very spooky like Halloween themed story. So if you want like a Ninth Doctor
excellent.
horror story, there is one.
Excellent. Perfect for the season.
But if you'd like to join us on our journey here, you can join our Patreon, where for just $1 a month you can get access to our Discord, where we'll encourage discussions between episodes while we're watching, and you'll also get early access to these episodes. And then for $5 a month, you can watch live as we record. We'll have a live text chat that will chat with you, and you can tell us that Planet of Spiders is the best Third Doctor story, if you want.
You could tell us. You could tell us Mike Yates did nothing wrong.
But for our next episode, we are officially starting the Fourth Doctor. So that the two stories we'll be watching are Robot, which is a 4-parter, and The Ark in Space, which is another 4-parter. And
Right, 8 episodes.
behind the scenes, it was a little funny that Robot was actually partially being filmed at the same time as Planet of Spiders. So
Oh, that's funny.
Elizabeth Sladen was having to like rush between the two sets as they were filming.
Wow. That's really funny, actually.
And then, like,
I had no idea about that.
Partially, the Brigadier and Benton were also rushing between the two sets, but they were not as much in either story. So it's mostly Elizabeth Sladen was filming 2 stories at the same time.
Wow.
And
She was
then-
busy.
And we had 2 different actors playing the Doctor at the same time as well, which is just funny. But yeah, as a reminder, just make sure to watch Robot and The Ark in Space before our next episode. You can find those on BBC iPlayer or 2BTV. And if you support us on Patreon for just $1 a month, you gain access to our Discord, as well as early access to episodes. I've been Joy. You can find me on social media at Joy Content.
And I've been Triss. You can find me at Toon Triss.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.